fuck up. I've done this a few times. Not a YouTube, but I've done a presentation of what I am imagining this space to be. And I've had to do a few retakes because I felt like the quality could definitely be upgraded. Yeah, but this is just another plant YouTube. Nothing special, nothing expert, like just another person trying to cultivate an interest in a way. And one of the things that I think to me is important, and maybe for you as well, is that I am neurodivergent. So having a space where I get to be nerdy about a certain topic is very helpful for me to stay interested in that. But it also means that maybe I do not care about the same things as the neurotypical people who might be wanting to join in here as well. So I'm a little bit sick, which is partly why I can sit here and do this right now. I have a lot of different plans that I think I will introduce in whichever way makes sense to me. But in this first video I wanted to talk about my begonias. Specifically this begonia. Have I looked into the type of begonia? Have I looked into the type of care they need? No. And this might be a bad trait of someone who does see plants as my special interest at times. But I think what I am learning is that also my neurodivergency, it needs plant care to be intuitive, to not feel like such a big chore. And I hope that makes sense. What are you? What are you? I see you crawling, but I don't know. So I might also be able to give some tips on how to start taking care of plants if you don't have a green thumb, which I do, or I did. I always had a green thumb before moving to Germany. And that is a part of plant care that I didn't understand until very recently, is that plants need different things wherever you are, in whichever flat you are, whichever country you are. The climate will impact, the positioning of the sun will impact, and the type of plants that you try to fit in that space will make a difference to how well or unwell your plants are gonna be doing. So because these are currently my favorite plant, and I say plant because it used to be one that I really wanted to multiply, so I cut her off. So I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure this was the main plant. Scratch that. This was the main plant, because I think this is where I cut it off. And I didn't actually do so much research. I just through the years of caring for plants, I realized that most plants you can just chop off and they will make new roots. Sometimes it will take them longer, and some are really quick at making new roots. And we can also go through different ways to root cuttings in another video, not here. We could go into a little bit though. So, this plant actually comes, I think, in its original pot. I bought this plant from a couple of friends who are moving countries. It does say that it's called Begonia wings. It also says sun behind a cloud, which means I assume that it wants sun, but maybe not full sun. And it seems to have medium water needs. It says don't eat it and feed it. Yeah, very simplistic, very general tips there. It has created quite a few new leaves actually since I did the cutting, or I took the cutting from this one. It started to create a lot more new leaves. I wanted to show you how the old leaves were looking. If you can see that, I don't know, you can see that it's crispy and see-through in many places. It's only, and this is the same goes for this one on the bottom leaves. This and here is also cut. And I'm so happy to say that this has not happened with any of the new growth since I started caring for it. I don't think it's thanks to myself. I think maybe it's how I figured to care for them. I do actually have a south-facing window. However, only so many plants fit here, and so many plants think that the sun in the south-facing window is very overwhelming. It's a very tricky apartment actually, to make sure that all my plants get enough light without stunting their growth or burning them. So what I did was I started buying, I bought a few different types of grow lights. And these plants, which I will show you later when I put them back, these plants live right next to a grow light. I actually thought that maybe it was gonna burn leaves on this one because it sits right next to the grow light, and it's quite bright. But it just made it grow. Before I got the grow lights, it was just not really doing much. It was just slowly trying to recover from the cutting. And what I realized when it started making these new leaves, first of all, was that the nodes sometime, so as you can see, it grew from here because I cut it here. So this first leaf actually started poking into this one. And they're also quite hard when they come out, like they can be quite sharp. So I think partly that's why the lower leaves have so many, seem to have a lot of this is also this is something my brain does sometimes when it can't comprehend languages, because my native language is not English, and sometimes my brain just goes silent. What was I saying? Yeah, I think that's why the lower leaves have a lot of broken parts, or these cut bits of the leaves. I think that's part of it. So what I did when I saw these grow, I made sure to turn them away a little bit from the grow light, so that it would grow in, so this leaf, if I am the grow light, is here. I sort of turned it, I turned the little leaf, the new leaf, towards the grow light and the bigger ones away from it, so that it would naturally try to direct itself, or like grow in a different direction, not too much towards the old leaf. And then I actually physically altered its position whenever it was possible. So when it started to collide with the leaf underneath, I like put it on top of it, so it's like, okay, even if you grow now, you have space. So I've been very physical with this, and I moved it around a lot. And yeah, I've had 3 new leaves in this, and there is not a single cut, not a single dry spot, and there are 1, 2 new leaves growing as well. I'm not gonna turn. I've seen some plant people actually physically take and unfurl new leaves and stuff, and so far I do not want to do that. I seem to be able to trust this one to actually unfurl, and maybe because it's next to such a strong grow light, it's not going to stunt, it's not going to stop if I don't help it on the way. Yeah, the difference with these two, I guess, is this one is sitting in very cheap soil that I've mixed with some perlite to make it more airy. I put some, I don't remember what they are called, but just like rocks on top, so that will help a little bit with the gnat situation, the little flies that you get, especially when you have a lot of plants. It's almost impossible to get rid of them. That's why also I keep yellow stickers on almost all my plants. And the new one, I decided to see if I could put a cutting directly into perlite only, and let it grow that way, because I figured no gnats in perlite. I'm not 100% sure, because you always see gnats walking around on all of your plants, but I mean, I can definitely tell that these are not full of gnats. I really like having my plants in perlite. I also think it's quite nice looking. And it is a little bit of a new experiment. For me, I've only been experimenting with perlite maybe last 6 months. With perlite only. Before I only used it to make my soil more airy, but now I started to really experiment with it. However, I don't think all of my plants like this way of growing. The negative maybe is that sometimes maybe you can't tell if it's doing well or not. All I can tell is this one is doing well in perlite, partly because I have seen a few, I don't know if you can see it, but I've seen a few roots, like little strands of roots here and there. So, and it's obviously looks well, it looks like it's doing good, and it's given me 2 new leaves. So I can't complain, because it's not complaining. Okay, please, if you want to interact and you want to learn more, or if you want to teach me something, I'm very open for that as well. Yeah, I'm sure that having this space will help me and will make me more intrigued to look into plants as well and learn more about them as I go along. But as a first step for me is just to start. Because if we start, there's at least a snowball rolling down the hill. And I will now show you where I keep the begonias. So you see there the grow light in this one, in the light bulb. It's just a regular grow light bulb that I've put into one of these IKEA bulbs. Yeah, and it actually sits that close, which I think for most plants and most grow lights, this is a bit too close, but it's doing so well. So why would I change it? If it's working, don't change it. And this one also, because it's just a little bit lower, it doesn't get as much light, and I also think that keeps the growth a little bit slower. Like, it's not shooting out as much as that one, but it's doing well and it looks really lush. So yeah, that's the light situation for those. And that is the situation for this video, for this introduction. If you want to know something else, feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to give any tips that you think I might need or might benefit from. We'll get to know each other soon enough. Soon enough. Thank you for tuning into this first sniffly video, and I hope to see you soon. Ciao.